이상한 나라의 앨리스. 루이스 캐롤, 영국 북서부 채셔 지방에서 태어났으며 본명은 찰스 러트위지 도지스입니다. 옥스퍼드 대학을 졸업하고 모교에서 수학과 논리학을 강의하던 캐럴은 내성적인 성격으로 주위 사람들과의 교류는 활발하지 못했으나 어린이들과 어울리는 것을 좋아하여 사진 기술과 마술을 익히고 재미있는 게임을 고안하는 등 어린이들이 좋은 친구가 되기 위해 노력하였다. 루이스 캐롤이라는 필명으로 1865년 어린이의 동심과 상상력을 담아 집필한 동화 이상한 나라의 앨리스가 출간과 함께 선풍적인 인기를 끌게 되면서 그는 당대 최고의 동화작가라는 찬사를 받게 되었다. 이후 저술활동에 몰두한 캐럴은 1871년 이상한 나라의 앨리스의 속편 거울 나라의 앨리스, Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There를 출간하였으며 이후 소설로까지 창작 영역을 넓혀 스낙 사냥, 실비와 브루노 등과 같은 작품을 남겼다. 이상한 나라의 앨리스는 계속 보면 됩니다. Alice in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll. Chapter 1, Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice was sitting on the river bank. Beside her, her sister was reading a book. Alice looked at her sister's book. There were no pictures or conversations in the book. I hate books without pictures or conversations, she thought. At that time, a white rabbit with pink eyes ran by. Alice often saw white rabbits, but this one was different. He took out the watch and said, "Oh, I'm late. Alice was very curious and ran after it. The white rabbit disappeared into a rabbit hole. She followed the rabbit and jumped down into the hole. Alice was falling and falling, but she fell very slowly, so she had time to look around her. The sides of the hole were filled with cupboards and bookshelves. Here and there she saw maps and pictures on the walls. Down, down, down. I will fall through the earth, thought Alice. Suddenly, Alice landed. She was not hurt. Then she saw the white rabbit in the distance. "Oh, it's getting late," said the white rabbit. He turned the corner. She ran after the rabbit, but he already disappeared. Alice was in a long room with low ceilings. There were many doors in the room, but they were all locked. Alice saw a glass table and a golden key on it. The key was fitted to a very small door behind the curtains. The door had a window. She looked through the window and saw a very beautiful garden beyond it. She wanted to play in the garden, but she was too big to go through the door. She went back to the table. This time, she found a bottle on it. The label on the bottle said, "Drink me." Alice tasted it. It was good, and she drank it all. "I feel strange," said Alice. "Oh, I'm shrinking." She shrank and shrank. Now she was small, so she could pass through the door. Alice ran to the door at once, but poor Alice! She had left the key on the table, and now she could not reach the top of the table. Then she saw a little glass box beside the table. The words on the box said, "Eat me." She opened the box and found a very small cake in it. "I'll eat it," said Alice. "If it makes me bigger, I can reach the key. If it makes me smaller, I can creep under the door. Either way, I can get into the garden." She ate the cake and she started to grow. She grew and grew, then her head hit the ceiling. She took the key and hurried to the door. Poor Alice. She opened the little door with the key, but she was now too big to get through. She began crying. "Stop crying," she said to herself. "Stop crying right now." But she couldn't stop crying. She cried and cried. There was a large pool of tears all around her. And when the tears touched Alice, she began to shrink again. "Oh no," said Alice. "I'm too small now." As she said these words, her foot slipped. Splash! She was in salt water. She first thought she was in the sea. "I cried too much," said Alice. I might drown in my own tears." And she swam to the shore. Then Alice heard footsteps in the distance. It was the White Rabbit again. "Where did I drop them? Where?" he said to himself. He was looking for his gloves and fan. Then the White Rabbit saw Alice and said angrily, "Mary Ann, run home and fetch me a pair of gloves and a fan, quick." "He took me for his maid," thought Alice. She ran for a while and found a nice little house. There was name W. Rabbit on the door. Chapter 2: The Rabbit's House and the Mushroom. Alice went in the White Rabbit's house. In a little room, she saw a pair of gloves and a fan. When she picked them up, she saw a little bottle. There was no label on the bottle, but she thought, "I hope this will make me big again. I'm quite tired of being so little." She started drinking, and her hand soon reached the ceiling. She quickly put down the bottle, but she kept growing. Very soon, she had to kneel down on the floor. Then she had to lie down. She put one arm against the door and the other out of the window. She put one foot up the fireplace. "I can do nothing. What will happen to me?" she said to herself. When he arrived home, the White Rabbit saw a giant arm out of the window. The rabbit told his servant to throw pebbles at it. The pebbles flew in through the window. Alice saw the little pebbles on the floor. To her surprise, they turned into little cakes. "If I eat one of these, I will get smaller," she thought. She swallowed one of the cakes and she began shrinking right away. She ran away from the house. "Oh," said Alice, "I'm too small now. I have to grow again, but how? I should eat or drink something, but what?" She looked around and found the big mushroom nearby. She stood on the tiptoe and looked off the edge. Her eyes met those of a caterpillar. It was sitting on the top of a mushroom. The caterpillar spoke out, "Who are you?" "I don't know, sir," replied Alice. "When I got up this morning, I knew who I was, but I've changed many times since then." "What do you mean by that?" said the caterpillar. But you must tell me who you are first, said Alice. Why? Said the caterpillar. Alice couldn't think of any good reason, so she turned away. Come back, said the caterpillar. So you think you've changed, do you? Yes. I don't keep the same size for 10 minutes, said Alice. What size do you want? Said the caterpillar. Well, I'd like to be a little taller, said Alice. The caterpillar got down from the mushroom and crawled away into the grass. One side will make you taller, and the other side will make you shorter, it said. One side of what? The other side of what? Said Alice. Of the mushroom, said the caterpillar. In another moment it was out of sight. Alice looked at the mushroom for a minute. It was round, so Alice didn't know which side was right or left. She stretched her hands around it and broke off a piece of mushroom with each hand. Alice ate some of the piece in the right hand. She shrank so quickly that her chin struck her foot. This time she ate some of the piece in her left hand. Her neck began to grow and grow, and soon she was taller than the trees. She started again very carefully. She ate a little at once and at one hand, and then at the other. She sometimes grew taller and sometimes shorter. Finally, she reached her usual height. Chapter 3: The Cheshire Cat. Alice began walking and came to an open place. She saw a little house. It was about 4 feet high. The people who live here must be very small, thought Alice. I don't want to frighten them. She ate some mushroom from her right hand. Soon she was 9 inches tall. Then she saw a footman running from the wood. He had the face of a fish. He knocked loudly at the door of the little house. Another footman opened the door. He had a big head and large eyes like a frog. Both of the footmen had curly white wigs on their heads. The fish footman said, "The Queen invites the Duchess to play croquet." He pulled a letter from his pocket and handed it to a frog footman. After that, the footmen both bowed low and their curls tangled together. Alice laughed. Then she thought the footman might hear her and hid behind a tree. When she looked again, the fish footman was gone. Alice went up to the door and knocked. "There's no use knocking," said the frog footman. I am outside, and it's noisy in the house. No one will hear you." A very loud noise came from inside. Alice heard crying and sneezing, and a loud crash. "What should I do?" said Alice. "Anything you like," said the frog footman. He began whistling. "Oh, there's no use talking to you," said Alice. "You're mad." And she opened the door and went in. The door led into a kitchen. The Duchess was sitting on a stool. She was holding a baby in her arms. The cook was leaning over the fire, stirring a pot of soup. Alice began snitching. "There's too much pepper in that soup," she said. Even the Duchess and the baby was snitching. Only the cook and a cat didn't sneeze. The cat was sitting on the floor and grinning from ear to ear. Why does your cat grin like that? Asked Alice. It's a Cheshire cat, said the Duchess. That's right, pig. Alice jumped when the Duchess said the last word, but the Duchess was talking to the baby and not to her. Suddenly, the cook began throwing things at the Duchess and the baby: pots, pans, plates, and dishes. The baby cried. A dish just missed its nose. No, don't do that, please, cried Alice the cook. Mind your own business, said the Duchess, and don't bother me here. You may have it if you like. And she threw the baby to Alice. Alice cried, How could you throw your baby? You must be mad. Well, I must get ready to play croquet with the Queen, said the Duchess, and she hurried out of the room. Alice carried the baby out into the open air. The baby grunted. Alice looked into its face. Its nose was like a snout, not a real nose, and its eyes was too small for a baby. It grunted again. It was a pig. Alice put the little pig down, and it walked away into the woods. Then she was surprised to see the Cheshire Cat. It was sitting on a bough of the tree. Cheshire Cat, said Alice, please tell me, where should I go now? You can go that way, said the cat. There lives a hatter and a March hare, but they are both mad. We are all mad here. I'm mad. You are mad. How do you know that I'm mad? Said Alice. If not, you won't be here, said the cat. And how do you know that you're mad? Asked Alice again. Well, said the cat, a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's happy. I growl when I'm happy and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad. Cats purr, not growl, said Alice. Growling or purring is the same, said the cat, and it began to disappear quite slowly. It began with the end of the tail and then the body. Its grin disappeared last. Well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, thought Alice. But a grin without a cat, what a strange thing it is. Alice continued walking. She saw the house of the March hare. She decided to grow a bit before she went near. She ate some of the mushroom from her left hand. Soon she was 2 feet high. Then she walked toward the house.